All right, guys, and we're back. Episode number 31 of the Daru Strong Podcast. I'm your host, Phil Daru. Today's guest, my man, Jared Flash Gordon. Flash is his nickname, but he has a crazy background and a crazy story. One of the most heartfelt stories that we've had on this podcast. A great interview and a great conversation with one of the greatest people that I've ever came in contact with and actually get the chance to train him. So UFC fighter, but a crazy past, so I know you're going to enjoy it. But before we do that, have to shout out the sponsors. Revive MD, ReviveSubs.com. Go check it out. Check out my very own Phil Daru Athlete Stack. You can get it now for 20% off if you use the discount code DaruStrong20. You get fish oils, omega-3s, you get some collagen, vitamin D3, also get an adrenal fix. Anything that's going to help your athletes or yourself recover from your training and also increase your performance. Also, if you're a coach, if you are someone looking to learn my methods and protocols that I use for my athletes on a daily basis, we're talking 10 plus years of information that I've gathered. We're talking over hundreds of thousands of dollars that I've actually had to acquire to learn this stuff. I actually give it to you for a one-time price for life. So check it out. If you're looking to learn some of that stuff, go ahead, sign up in the link in the description, and you'll find out more details on that. Also, we have our body armor program is still out. So if you're looking to increase your strength, increase your power production, but do not have access to a gym, I have an 8-week body weight only program, Body Armor, that's now available for you guys. Okay, now we got that out the way. Check out this interview with my man, Jared Gordon. Let's do it.
Welcome to the Daru Strong Podcast. Daru Strong Podcast.
Let's go. Mind over matter. Put your mind somewhere else and keep going. That little voice in your head is trying to stop you from getting to where you want to be. Be successful and keep moving forward.
With your host and world-renowned strength and conditioning coach, Phil Daru.
All right, episode number 31. Got Jared Flash Gordon in the building. I don't know why they call him Flash. We're trying to get him there. It's pretty good, though. So I've been working with Jared for, what, 4 months? Right there? 4 or 5 months. But your last outing, right, was in Abu Dhabi. Talk a little bit about that, because that was an interesting thing that happened there.
So it was the first visit to Fight Island for UFC.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was the second to last card. There's 4 cards total that month.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was the second to last, or I was the second card. I forget. But it was like uncharted territory.
Yeah.
They didn't do it yet. They weren't sure how it was all going to work out.
Mm-hmm.
So Gilbert was supposed to fight Usman.
Mm-hmm.
Gilbert Burns was supposed to fight Kamaru Usman. So he was arriving a couple days before me to Fight Island. So my whole team got there. Gilbert got there. They all tested positive for coronavirus, and my coaches were going to stay there and then corner me. So I lost all my cornermen. Everything leading up to that was just terrible.
Yeah.
Florida was in the middle of the terrible pandemic.
Was this April?
No, this was June and going into July, because I fought July 15th.
Yeah.
So everyone around me was getting coronavirus. My fiance had coronavirus, so I was quarantined from her. And 3 days before she was diagnosed with coronavirus, she suffered a miscarriage. We suffered a miscarriage. So, it was a mess. And then I quarantined for 2 weeks before I left. I wasn't going to the gym really. I was every now and then, but as I got closer and the pandemic was going nuts, I was like, man, everyone in my gym is getting coronavirus. Mm-hmm. I can't afford to be surrounded by people, so I'm not going to go to the gym. So I just did every workout on my own. I was training 2-3 days by myself. There's only so much you can do by yourself. You could run, you could sprint. Mm-hmm. I was doing burpees, shadow boxing. It was terrible. And
you were there though. You were still there. In Abu Dhabi, right?
Well, I had gotten there 10 days before.
Yeah.
So they flew us to Vegas. So before we left, I was getting tested here in Florida just because I didn't want to fly to Vegas and then have.
Yeah.
And they tell me to go home.
Go home. Yeah.
So I got tested Monday, I was negative. I got tested Wednesday, I was negative. Friday, negative. We left on Sunday. So I was like, all right, I'm good. And I was quarantined the whole time. So besides going to get tested and going to the supermarket, I was staying away from people, sanitizing everything. So I get to Vegas, they quarantine us there. Tested negative there. They sent us to Abu Dhabi. It was crazy because on the plane, I took a picture with Dana White and Michael Bisping and Matt Serra and one of like the stewardess or something like that, and everyone posted it. And then the next, so I get to Abu Dhabi at 3 a.m. They test me, and I get a call saying that it's positive. So I was like, and then I started putting two and two together. Oh shit! I was just hugging Dana White and Michael Bisping, and so that means I exposed them. So all this is going through my head. I'm like, I'm going to be the reason why Fight Island doesn't work and why UFC got taken down, and all the if that happened, the backlash that UFC and Dana would have got. Oh, we told you it wasn't going to work. You try to do the impossible, and look what you did. You put people in danger. You put yourself in danger. Blah 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 blah. So now I'm in my hotel room, and I'm like, these last couple weeks can't get any worse. Miscarriage. Coronavirus. Everyone's got coronavirus. I just gave Dana White coronavirus. I gave everyone on the plane coronavirus. We're on a 15-hour flight to Abu Dhabi. If I had coronavirus and they're saying it's as contagious as it's supposed to be, that means like everyone around me got coronavirus.
For sure, That's kind of weird though, like how that is, with some of them have false positives and things of that nature. So. Yeah,
I mean the testing is so, it's brand new, it's not accurate, so I mean, whatever. So I had to wait, so they were like, all right, we're gonna retest you, stay in your room, can't leave. They come, they test me, the first test comes back negative again, so, or the second test. Great. They're like, you gotta stay in your room. We gotta get 2 negatives just to be safe. They test me again. Another 12 hours goes by, and I'm negative. So I get cleared. So I didn't have any of my cornermen though, but I was lucky because my boy Paul Felder, who I've been friends with for years, was commentating. He came off the booth to corner me, and my buddy Gary Tonin, who I trained with at Henzo's in New York, he was there cornering Ryan Benoit, so he filled in also. Wow. And Eric Nixick from Extreme Couture, great dude, awesome guy. He helped me out also, and it all worked. I got the win. I won, I think 30-26 on every card, something like that. So. Dominated, and it was a crazy story, but it all worked out.
Now they're doing something with that, right? They're doing like a docu-series on that, or what?
It came out. Fight Island Declassified. It was 4 episodes. The first 3 episodes were like really like all me. So it was really cool to see that, and the way it all it would have been. If I lost, it would be like, oh, what a story. He finally made it, but he lost. So it all worked out. It wouldn't have been...
the Rocky story.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been the Rocky story, but...
Okay, so now that we got that one, because I did want to go over that, let's back up a little bit and talk about your past, because you probably have the most craziest past that I've ever heard of, and I've been through some shit myself, but go ahead and start up and tell the people what you've actually been through and why you're at where you're at now.
So, I mean, my demons go way back, what I mean? And I used to not really share this, but I know now that it's part of my story and probably why, I turned out the way I turned out. But as a child, I was in sleepaway camp, and I had gotten sexually assaulted by a male counselor. Full-on rape, so that was like a pivotal moment in my life, obviously, and at the time at 9 years old, I didn't know, or I was 8, I turned 9 like a couple weeks later. I didn't know what was going on or why it happened, or thought maybe I did something wrong, or I didn't know what to do or think, and it was just a coincidence. I came home, and before school started, one of my buddies, who was like a couple years older than me, 12 or 13, started smoking weed, and you know, and I was there, and I'm like, oh, and I fell into that life pretty fast.
Yeah.
I was getting high. I smoked pot like every day by the time I was 11, 12. And it progressed to other drugs. I was also acting out a lot, getting in a lot of trouble. And the disease of addiction for me progressed like super fast. By the time I was 13, I was selling cocaine when I was 13. The fuck, what is that? Like, kind of 13. But I remember like selling 20s of cocaine when I was 13 years old.
Yeah, and this is in New York.
This is in New York. Yeah. So at the time I was living on Long Island. That same year, 2000, right before 9/11. That was 2000, 2001, 9/11.
Yeah, 2001.
2001. So it was the Father's Day before 9/11. My father's store burnt down, killed a bunch of FDNY guys, firefighters, and we moved from Nassau into Queens, to Astoria, Queens. So the first half of my life I was in Long Island, the second half I was in Queens, or Nassau, then Queens. But, you know, and then I started really acting out. And
why do you think that, though? You think you just kind of cry for help, pretty much?
I don't know if it was a cry for help at that time, but, like, I didn't give a shit. And I didn't want to go to school. And I always, even as a young kid, I always had this feeling. Like, I remember I used to have to take the subway to high school. I had to like, get up in the morning, walk to the subway, get on the train, and go to school. And I remember like leaving my house, and I'd be like smoking blunts or, you know, drinking like vodka or rum that I stole from like my dad's liquor cabinet, like while going to school. And I remember having like my headphones on, and I remember just to throw this in, I remember Get Rich or Die Trying that just came out. And I was walking through Queens, and I'm like, I'm the most gangster motherfucker on this block. But it was like, I look back at it, I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking, you know? And, but I remember always thinking, like, I don't want to go to school. And like, I didn't want to go to school because I didn't want to go to class, but like, I always had this feeling that there was something bigger for me. And I'm like, I'm like trying to figure it out. I'm like, all right, I think like at the time I was like, I think I know, like I gotta sell drugs, make a bunch of money, and like figure something out from there. And like I thought like I was harnessing my energy like in the right way, but I was obviously doing all the wrong things. But like I always had this feeling like there was something bigger. Like I didn't want to go to school. I never wanted to go to college. Even when I was young, I was like, I'm not going to college. It's not for me. Like I'm not going to do homework. I'm not going to listen in class about a bunch of nonsense that I don't want to that I don't care about. And I barely went to school. I did graduate with a 65.1 average, but I went to summer school every year. My senior year, I had like 4 gym classes because I failed like every gym class every year. Like leading up to that.
How'd you fail gym class, bro?
Because I didn't go.
Exactly.
So
that's usually how you fail gym class, right there.
So, like, and then I remember So at this point, like by the time I graduated high school, like I had done like pretty much every, hardcore drug besides like opiates and like crack. And I don't know if I did meth yet at that point, but in Queens it wasn't like a big thing. Like it was like pills, ecstasy, weed drinking.
This is like 2000.
Like
was it 2004?
2006 I graduated. So
gotcha.
But then when I graduated high school and I actually somehow got accepted to college.
Wow. Nice.
But I had to take like 1 million prerequisites in order to do the program.
Sure.
I was going to be a pharmacist, which would have worked out great.
You call yourself a street pharmacist?
Yeah, exactly. At the time, I had already gone through like a serious addiction with Xanax like that year. Now I wanted to be a pharmacist. I was working in pharmacy and I was stealing all the pills. So I was like, I'll just be a pharmacist when I get older. Because the guy was like, that worked there was trying to mentor me. He was like, you should go to pharmacy school. It's a really good job. 6 years. And you get a great job, All right, so I tried to go, and I had a girlfriend at the time who was like pushing me to go to college, and I was like, And then so So I graduated that summer. I was looking for, I wanted to like work out and do something physical. I had boxed and wrestled as a kid. I always had a knack for, I loved fighting, you know, and at the time, The Ultimate Fighter was like blowing up. I think it was like Stephen Bonner and Forrest Griffin, and I was watching UFC like nonstop. And I went to a boxing gym in Manhattan with my friend to like see if we wanted to join, but it was too far.
Yeah.
It's all the way downtown Manhattan. It actually later turned out to be one of my main gyms in life. But that same day, I came home from the city. I got out on Steinway Street in Long Island City, one of the stops, and I get out, and as soon as I get out, there's a gym. And it said Combined Martial Arts, and I see the guys are in there, they're sparring, they're doing jiu-jitsu. So I go in there, I sign up, and that was it. I remember going to my first class. I threw up everywhere, and I remember rolling. I loved it, and then I was like, this is like what I want to do. And 4 months later, I had my first amateur fight.
Yeah, it kind of fell into place for you.
Just fell into place, just like right in my lap. It was like the weirdest thing. And that's it. I remember going home. My dad was like, well, you gotta choose, like, you're gonna go to college or you're gonna fight. This was already like a couple of months or years down the line where he said this to me. I think. Like, you gotta figure out what you want to do. Yeah. So I decided, all right, I'm gonna fight. I had like 8 amateur fights. I did all right. I won a couple titles. And then when I was 22, I went pro. So at this point though, I had a mean addiction to OxyContin. At the time, I was like doctor shopping, selling pills, selling other drugs. I was getting in a lot of trouble. I was getting arrested just for stupid shit. Wow.
This is still, you just turned pro.
Yeah, I was like 21, 20. I turned pro when I was 22. But I remember I needed to get out of the city because my best friend had just died from an overdose. I was losing control. I was like seriously addicted to OxyContin, and I was losing my mind. And my now fiance at the time, she had just dumped me. So I was like, I was in a bad way. And I remember I met this kid, Anthony Leone, who formed Bellator, formed WEC. He's like, man, you should come up to Bomb Squad, which was a gym in Ithaca, New York. It was like 4 hours north of the city. And I went up there. I like kicked cold turkey. It was terrible. I was dope sick for like days. Yeah, so I trained for like a month and a half hard, and then like the coach was like, hey, one of our guys was supposed to fight. He pulled out of the fight. You want to take it? I was like, yeah, sure. I remember I lost my last amateur fight because I was getting high, not training. And I'm like, I gotta get this back, you know. So I went pro. I won. I choked the guy out, rear naked choke, and then I remember being like, oh, I gotta celebrate. And like I went to the casino, and like that night I was sniffing OxyContin again. I relapsed, and I just went. I went nuts. I went on a crazy bender. I started shooting pills. And I went to rehab. I left the rehab early because I didn't want to be there. Came home, got high more, started shooting heroin. Then I got sent away for like 6 months. I needed help. I asked for help. I went away for 6 months to a program, it's like a therapeutic community. It's like up in upstate New York called Samaritan Village. Like 90% of the people there were court mandated. That was an experience. It was crazy. I mean, you know what? I look back at it, and like at the time, I hated being there, but it made me, you know, who I am now. And I learned a lot there. And I actually put together like 2 years of sobriety after that. And then I continued to fight. Within those 2 years, I racked up a bunch of wins. I was like 9-0 at the time as a pro.
The regional scene.
I was fighting in CFSC. I won a tournament in Mexico. It was 8 Mexicans versus 8 Americans. Won the whole thing. Nice. Grand prize was $100,000. They never paid me, so I got fucked on that. That's another story.
Motherfuckers gotta pay my guy. Seriously. Gotta pay my guy. Come on.
So then, I was racking up wins in CFSC. They offered me a title shot. If I won, I was going to get a UFC contract. I would have been undefeated, 10-0, CFSC champion, and I was going to go to UFC. I fought Jeff Lentz, tough guy. He was on The Ultimate Fighter. He had a bunch of fights, bunch of boxing fights too. I was winning every round. I was up on all the judges' scorecards. I shot in one shot like in the third round, and he stuffed it and threw like a little knee, and it just hit my eye and broke like everything on this side of my face. Yeah. My orbital, my nose. I fought the third round out. By the time the round was over, my face was out here. The doctors called it. Yeah. I went to the hospital, and they were like, we took X-ray of your face. It looks like you're blind. We think you're blind because the way the nerves were, the nerve was sitting between the fractures. They were like, it looks like it was separated or cut the nerve. Yeah. And you probably have partial vision loss or full vision loss.
Your eye was already.
My eye was like, I couldn't even see anything because it was closed anyways. They were like, this is probably your last fight ever. Yeah. And I'm sober. I'm like, what do you mean? I was just winning the fight though. Now you're telling me I'm never fighting again? You know, what the fuck are you talking about? And they were like, all right, so we could wait for the swelling to go down and your eye opens up to see if you're blind, or we could pry it open right now. Yeah. And I remember saying, pry that shit open. Yeah. There's no way I'm fucking waiting. Yeah. So they're like, all right, we're going to have to give you a shot of morphine. My parents were bedside with me, and they were like, oh, like he's a recovering addict. And they were like, look, he needs emergency surgery. Yeah. The only way for us for healing to occur is for us to bring his pain levels down, because we need all the muscles and
to relax
in his face to relax, so healing can occur, and so we could do surgery. Because we need all that to swell before we go in there. Yeah. So my parents were like, and dude, the amount of pain that I was in, it felt like an anvil was like sitting on my eyeball. Yeah, I'm sure. And I remember I had, the morphine, the IV in my arm already, and I remember they gave me that shot of morphine, and that fucking warm blanket came over me, and I was like, oh man, I'm fucked. Especially with everything they just told me, you're never fighting again. Yeah. There goes your shot at UFC. Yeah. You were just undefeated. Now you have a loss on your record. Yeah. You're not the champion, and you're blind.
And you were winning the fight.
It's like I was losing the whole way. Yeah. I was like, so I remember. It took like 2 doctors to open my eye. Like one to get the lower eyelid. They were like digging in my face because my eyelid was like inverted. You know, like it was. Yeah. And I remember just. The amount of pain, everything was, my nose was broken, all these bones were broken. Yeah. And they opened it, and I was like, I could see. And they were like, all right, move your eye. Nice. Upper right, straight up, to the left, this way, that, in all directions, so we could see that the muscles are working. And I'm like, I can see, like, colors, everything, I could move it. They're like, this is like a miracle. Nice. Like, the way it looks, like that fracture, it looks like it cut everything. Wow. Like normally, like people are blind or very damaged. Yeah. So I had to wait till that Monday morning to have surgery. It was Saturday night because the doctor was who knows where. Yeah. And they were giving me fucking Dilaudid, which is like they call that hospital heroin. Yeah. That's how strong it is. Yeah. And every 4 hours they would give me a dose, and I remember I wouldn't even go to sleep. So I was like afraid to miss a dose, So I remember like waiting, like as soon as that fucking clock struck the 4th hour, I was like hitting the nurses. They were like, "Wow, you're really timely with your pain med dose," and I'm like, "I'm in so much pain." Meanwhile, I just at that point, like, I was in pain, but I just wanted to get high, Yeah. So I left the hospital. I actually stayed clean. They gave me a script to go home with. Stayed clean for like 7 weeks, and I'm at home. My eye is closed, like basically still so swollen. My face, I broke all of this, so I have a plate that sits in my face from here to here. Wow. Like it's my medial orbital and my orbital floor. It's like one big plate. Actually, I had the same surgery a year ago on my other eye, but it was like a little baby plate, just like sits like right here. Yeah. This one's like that. Yeah. So It was a major surgery. I was in the head trauma unit for like 6-7 days. Because I had a bad concussion. Yeah. And they were, every 4 hours, they were just loading me up with IV drugs. And that was, my drug of choice. So I stayed clean for like 6-7 weeks. And they were like, or I was sitting on my couch. I remember it was like 99 degrees in Queens, in New York. It was the dead of summer. My parents went away somewhere. I was alone in the house, and like I remember sitting on the couch. TV was off, and I'm just sitting there, and all I could hear was like the AC unit. Like I remember this like vividly, just like the AC unit like clacking, like I could hear the air coming, and like feel the cold air in my neck because the units were like right there. Yeah. And I remember just being like no one's calling me, no one gives a fuck. Yeah. Everyone said sorry. Oh, we hope you're okay. Yeah. And I'm just like, I don't know if I'm gonna fight yet because I can barely move my eye, and I have like quadruple vision. I had to wear prism glasses that were like super heavy. They would just fall off my face. It was like retarded. Yeah. So I remember like thinking like, fuck this. Yeah. I'm going to get high. Yeah. And I called the fucking Flacco, and within like 6.5 minutes, I had a fucking needle in my arm, and I went on like the run of my life. I was fucking shooting crack, shooting coke, shooting heroin. Whatever. I was shooting fucking Molly. I was like, what's that? They're like, Molly. I was like, all right, give it to me. I'll shoot it. Wow. Anything I could stick in a needle and put in my arm, I was shooting K. Oh, shit. I remember like shooting K, and I was like, I'll never do that again. I was like smoking dust. I was going ballistic. I was robbing everyone. Every drug dealer that came my way. Damn. How old were you at this point? 25, 26. Yeah. But I had like this background in martial arts, and I'm like running around like a madman. Yeah. And I was just like using my abilities to get over on people, and I had a lot of people coming after me, and now at this point it's already like Thanksgiving, Christmas, and my parents kicked me out. I was homeless. I've been homeless multiple times, even down here in Florida. I was homeless like all over the place. Yeah. But I had just like robbed a drug dealer for a bunch of money. Yeah. So I was like living in motels and stuff and getting high. I missed Thanksgiving. My parents had no idea where I was. Christmas came December 2015, Christmas Eve. I shoot a bunch of coke and heroin. Together, speedball. And I fucking like hit the desk or something like that. Like I fall over. Yeah. I overdose. Yeah. I rip like the lamps off the desk, and then I guess the neighbor heard the noise. They called Man, that's so lucky, bro. They called the front desk. Wow. They called the cops. The fucking cops came in. There was needles and bags of dope everywhere. Oh, wow. Like all over the room. You remember them coming in or no? No. Yeah, I woke up, like they hit me with the Narcan, and I remember like coming to downstairs. And like I remember like I was in the ambulance, and I was like, all I had on was like a pair of jeans, and I'm like super skinny. Yeah. So I'm like, I've been like dope fiending for the last like couple of months. Yeah. And I was like, where's my money? And they were like, we got it. And I'm like, where's my drugs? They were like, we're not giving that to you. They were like, actually, we should be locking you up for the amount of drugs you had. Yeah. But since it's Christmas Eve, we don't want to do paperwork and go to the precinct with you, so we're just go to bring you to central bookings. Yeah. So we're taking the drugs, we'll give you your money back, and we'll cut you loose at the hospital. I was like, all right. I was so hyped up on drugs. Like they had just taken me out of like an opiate overdose. Yeah. But I was so like hyped up on all the coke I was shooting. Yeah. Now I was in psychosis. I was hallucinating. I thought there was like I was going like this. I thought there was like midget cops like surrounding me. I was like, what are you looking at? I'm like, you don't fucking see that thing? Everywhere I went, I was like, oh shit. Like all the shadows, I'm like, oh my god, like people were fucking following. I thought people were trying to pickpocket me. Yeah. So I'm like holding my pockets like this. Oh man. I went through that, like, I did that for years. I would shoot coke for, like, my parents would be like, what are you doing? I'd be like, in the house, I'd be like, there's cops here. It's like, in my room, they'd be like, there's no one in your room. I'd be like, there's midget cops in here. I'd be like, looking under my bed and shit. Crazy shit. Oh, man. So I remember they fucking, like, hit me with a bunch of Haldol in the hospital. And I woke up, like, a day and a half later. Yeah. It was, like, that was Christmas Eve. So I woke up like late in the afternoon on December 26th. So I was like a little over a day, something like that. And I remember waking up and I was dope sick as fuck. So I haven't shot heroin for like over a day. I'm sick as a dog, and I'm like in the hospital. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Where am I? Because they had me downstairs. They put me in a different room. I'm like, where the fuck am I? And then I realized, all right, I'm in the hospital still.
Yeah.
So they had like my arm like wrapped up with the IV because they didn't want me to put drugs in it or something like that. So I'm like, yo, get this shit off me right now. They're like, you can't leave the hospital. I'm like, yes, I can. Take it off before I just fucking walk out with this thing on my arm. So they took it off. I'm like, where the fuck's my money? They had like my money in like a safe or something. They gave me all my shit. I had no sneakers. For some reason, my feet were killing me. So I was like, why are my feet hurting so much? And they were like, well, the people at the hotel said you were like running around the hotel, like in the stairwells, like running up and down the stairwells before you overdosed.
Working out.
So I was like, what? My feet were killing me. I remember like going outside, it was like 20 degrees out in New York.
Oh, yeah. And
I'm like, all I got on is like I had a pair of jeans, no socks. They gave me like hospital socks and like a gown, like a hospital gown. And I'm like, fuck. And I'm like walking, I'm like, oh, my feet, it hurts so bad. And I get in the cab and I show up at my house and I knock on the door and my parents were like, I could see it in their faces, bro. They were like worried sick, bro. Because they had no idea where I was.
They didn't know where you were.
They had no idea for like a month and a half.
Wow.
And I just ruined like their Thanksgiving and their Christmas. My parents never turned their back on me, no matter what I did. I could like shoot someone in the face in front of my mom, and my mom would be like, he didn't do it. Yeah. Because she's Italian. Like, she'll never fold.
I get you.
Yeah. They're kind of people. And so like my mom saw me, she's like, I can't let you in. I was like, just give me a pair of sneakers and a sweater. So she gave me a pair of sneakers and a sweater, and I went to detox. And I was like, but first, I gotta get high. So I call my dope dealer, meets me right in front of the house. I go, I was so sick, bro, I couldn't wait to like get in. It takes like hours to get into detox and all the intake work and all the paperwork and shit. So I go to a detox. They're like, we got one bed left. I'm like, all right, great. I'm sitting there. I'm like, I still got a couple bags of heroin. Let me just go in the bathroom real quick. So I'm like, hey, can I use the bathroom? They're like, sure. So I go in there, bro. I'm like, taking forever. They fucking open the door. They're like, you gotta get the fuck out. I'm like, all right, fine. Just give me my drugs. So I left. And I go to another hospital that I knew of. I got high. I did all my drugs. I remember I chugged like a bottle of, was it SoCo or some shit like that? Just because some hospitals won't let you in to detox just for heroin, but like for alcohol or like other drugs, because it's like you could die from.
Does that flush you out or something like that?
No, like it's just like if you don't have certain drugs in your system, like so like opiate withdrawal is not like a medical emergency. Like you're not gonna die from opiate withdrawal, but alcohol, like Xanax, like benzodiazepine or meth withdrawal, you could die from that. So I had to put some alcohol in me before I went over there. So I drank a bottle of liquor, walked in there all fucked up. That was December 26th, so my first clean day was December 27th, 2015. I've been sober ever since.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, but like, man, there was like, I could tell you a million stories.
No, I'm sure.
Like, crazy shit.
What do you think was like the driving factor of you doing these drugs and like needing to get that escape?
Well, I did it for a lot of reasons. First was because I loved to get high. When I was a kid, I remember like when I first smoked weed, I was like, this is it. I found it. Like, I found what I needed, drinking, and then I progressed to other drugs. But then I started realizing, I'm like self-medicating, just like anyone else does. Like I'm having a down day, I'll have a glass of wine. But for me, it wasn't, I'm gonna have a glass of wine. I was like, I'm gonna shoot some fucking cocaine. I just took it to the next level always, no matter what. If I drank alcohol, I wasn't having one drink. I was drinking a bottle of fucking Jack Daniels or some shit.
You're going in.
So I'm going in.
So now, like with that though, like do you find like that pivot now is now you would say mixed martial arts would be fighting.
Well, yeah. So I had MMA. I still had a career at that point. I was still 9-1 as a pro.
Yeah.
You know, a doctor stoppage loss in a fight that I was winning. Not a bad record still. I can still like get my act together.
This was a year though, right? You haven't been training, you haven't been fighting for a year.
Well, yeah. So I had wasted about a good 7-8 months getting high.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
then what happened after that though? Because obviously now where you're at now, you're in the UFC.
So like I had this guy Tommy who's still like my AA sponsor. He's known my dad for like 25 years. He like helps people get clean and stuff. He was like trying to help me like, yo, like you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Or you're gonna go to jail.
Yeah.
Get your act together, and like no matter what, like he never like turned his cheek to me. Like, anytime I called him, he would come help me. But my parents were always like, yo, like, we don't know where he is, and he got me into one rehab, and I left that place. He got me into another detox, and finally, like, he helped me get into this place.
Yeah.
So I got into flush and detox, and then I went to Creedmoor, which was it's actually like a psych ward.
Oh, wow.
But they have like an alcohol drug abuse center. And it was like, it's like being in like a movie, that place.
Yeah,
this was like in the middle of New York.
Oh, wow.
Super old, like man old. It looked like you were in like a haunted house, the place that I was getting help in.
Yeah.
But like, something like, I had this like, I remember, so that winter, it was January now. I remember I was in detox for like 10 days, and I get to the rehab, which was like a couple miles away, and they were calling for like this major fucking snowstorm. And I remember it was like super warm inside.
Yeah.
And like I had like a hoodie on. My parents like dropped some clothes off for me. I was eating like chocolate. I had like some flannel pants on. And I had like some slippers on. I was super warm. And I was with like a bunch of animals in the rehab, like a bunch of fucking crazy animals like me. And but I remember like looking outside at the snow, and we got like 5 feet of snow.
Yeah.
And it was just like piling up, and I remember being like, oh, I'm so happy I'm in here.
Yeah.
And just like the feeling of like not having to run to shove a needle in my arm. Man, there was nights where I would be like jamming a needle in my arm.
No.
Like over and over, and my arm would be like out to here. And like I would just be like missing the vein because like I had no veins left. I still have scars from all the
trap.
And I remember just being like looking for any vein, like my neck, my fucking femoral artery, like my anywhere, just to get a needle in there. And like I would be like shaking from like, and like I was just remember thinking like I never want to do this again,
Yeah.
I never want to be like fucking midget cops. Fuck, like that's like.
Yeah, no.
So, but I remember like seeing that snow and being warm and just being like, I'm never going out there again, dude.
For sure, yeah.
Like I've been in the cold weather looking for dope,
Yeah,
I've been
crazy.
like runny nose, like looking for my next fucking victim to like rob or something like that. You know what I mean? So, that was it. Like the feeling that I had just stuck with me, and like the only reason I'm alive is because of God.
Yeah.
There's no other reason, or I've had 3 overdoses, and like I would wake up and they would be like, I remember my first overdose, I woke up, I couldn't move my right arm or the right side of my face. And I was like, Doc, is it gonna come back? And he's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Yeah.
And then I remember like an hour and a half later it came back, and I was like, I ripped the IV out of my arms. I was getting high that night. I didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But I don't ever want to have to do that again. And then, I've also lost, like, how many friends from this shit.
Yeah.
Not just drugs, but, like, living that lifestyle. Like,
Yeah.
You got, or, like, drinking and driving, you got into an accident, you're dead. Or, just, like, anything. So, I just had, I had enough. And, like, when I saw the look on my parents' face when I came home that day, like, just, like,
wow.
Pure misery. And it was Christmas. So it was like, even my dogs looked like miserable. Like, fuck you, Jared. Yeah. So
we go from that. Your January. When did you start training again?
Man, so I was like, I remember being in the detox.
Yeah.
And I remember I was sharing a room or the rehab, I was sharing a room with this guy, older guy, who's like 45, like, and I was like, He's like, man, I'm like, you're getting kind of fat over there. And I was like, you're going to fight when you're done with all this? Bro, I went from like 161 pounds of bone, skin and bones because I was just shooting so much drugs.
Yeah.
And I wasn't barely eating. Like if I did eat, it was like a Snickers bar or like a soda or some shit like that.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't want to spend my money on food.
Yeah.
I wanted to spend it on drugs. So I started eating. And you know, in these state-run facilities, they're not feeding you like steaks. They're feeding you carbs.
Yeah.
Like here's a bunch of rice and beans.
For
like,
sure. Yeah.
Here's a bunch of bread with like fake-ass meat on it.
Yeah.
You know, here's whatever, pasta.
Bologna.
Exactly. So I was hungry, bro. So I was on the rebound. Like, my body was like hungry, dude.
Yeah.
So I was eating everything. I got up to 210 pounds of pure fat.
Oh,
I got a great
shit.
picture. I'd love to see it. You think I'm fat? You think I'm chubby?
Yeah.
You make fun of me now.
Man.
But so I remember like, I was like, man, I gotta start like at least doing some pull-ups and push-ups or something. You know, some squats. You know, like while I'm in.
Because you couldn't do anything in there, right? It was just in this spot like.
Well, yeah, there was no like weights or anything like that. Like, you could do like body weight stuff and pull-ups. So I remember like getting down on the floor, bro. There were 20 pull-ups 20 push-ups felt like.
Oh man. Fucking.
Like I was like having to modify them, get on my knees, you know. And I remember like.
Shit.
Doing I was looking up at there's like a pipe.
Yeah.
And I remember looking up at that shit like, dude, I couldn't like, I banged out 5 and I was like, I couldn't even like.
Yeah. Nothing there.
Nothing there. So I remember like, holy shit, bro, I destroyed my body on this one.
Yeah.
Oh, man, look at me. That's me out of rehab.
Oh shit.
I was terrible, right?
Man, we gotta get video on this one. I gotta get video on this one.
Bro, look how terrible I look. Yeah. Dude, like 40 days before that, I was 160 pounds. I was 210.
Shit. That's crazy, man.
But, dude, I went, that picture was, Chris took that picture from Iron Line.
Yeah.
And he was like, man, you got a right, left, rib, you got all sorts of problems. So I came out of rehab and I'm like, dude, something's wrong with my groin.
Yeah.
And I got an MRI, I had torn hip labrum.
Yep.
And so that's why I wanted to start fighting again. Again, shit was like, I got to get a good strength coach. So I found Chris at Iron Line in Astoria. And within 5 months, I made 45.
Nice.
And I won. They gave me a shot at redemption at the belt.
Nice.
And I won by head kick knockout in the first round, like a minute. I won the belt. 2 weeks later, I took a short notice fight at 55. I won by rear naked choke in the second. Then I was supposed to fight that November. That was like August or something. I was supposed to fight in November, defend the belt. But I had a nose surgery. Healed fast. I wound up fighting. I had to wait a little. We fought, I think it was February. I defended my belt against this kid that fucking, at the time, you just had a Ricardo Lamas fight recently. Yeah. Bill Aljo, Ricardo Lamas. It was a great fight. So I fought Bill.
Okay.
We were like beefing like crazy at the time. I did great. I won pretty easily. And that was on Dana White looking for a fight too. It was that night. So I defended my belt in front of Dana. He signed me that night. Nice. And that was 2017. I was like 28. Yeah. And now still here in the UFC.
Yeah. Gotta look for another fight.
Waiting. I should know any day.
Yeah, we gotta get on Twitter. That's it. That's what we gotta do.
Start
calling them out. Yeah. Man, that's a crazy story, man. But
a little synopsis.
Yeah, it wasn't the whole thing, but we would have like a 4-hour podcast to do that. But
literally.
Yeah, I mean, so what I wanted to know was that like when you started, like now you're completely sober, you know, and you may have you have a drink here and there or whatever.
No.
Nothing. See what I mean?
I'm like
completely sober.
Had a drink of alcohol, weed, nothing. I don't even do CBD.
Nice.
For 5 years. It'll be 5 years in December.
So what do you think is that focus? Like where do you get the strength to do that?
At first it was like, all right, I need to do this for MMA.
Yeah.
But then I realized, like, it's not fucking MMA. Is fucking. I used to think, like, especially when I was younger, like, fighting. I am a fighter. Like, this is all I'm defined by fighting. Like,
Yes.
I now know that fighting does not define me. I fucking love it with a passion, though.
Yeah.
And I love competing, and I
what
want
you
to
do.
be the best.
That's what you do.
Know? And, like, I'll do anything I can. If you told me to fucking eat dirt on the floor and I'll be a UFC champion, I'd be like, I'll fucking jump down and start eating fucking dirt. You know what I mean? But it doesn't. It's not who I am. Like, so for me now, first of all, I don't want to die.
Yeah.
I don't want to live that life anymore. I don't want to have to start doing all the crazy shit I did to live that life.
Yeah.
I just want to be a better human. But now, like, I've realized that God has put me in all these situations and have this, you know, come back in my life to help other people, to help sexual assault victims, addicts. You're depressed. Bro, I tried killing myself like multiple times.
Yeah.
And I just wouldn't die. I would literally load up the spoon with heroin and cocaine. Like, this has got to be it. Shoot away and just be like, what the fuck? I'm not dead. Or I would overdose and then wake up and be like, you motherfuckers.
Yeah.
You fucking, I was supposed to die.
Yeah.
You fucking made me live, you ass.
Yeah, you had a different plan, though. There's a different plan for you.
So now, like, I know, like, I gotta help people. It's not,
Yeah.
you know, and God, like, do God's work. Like, I'm a big, you know, believer in God. I truly believe that everything's written and that He is the controller of all. You know?
100%.
And so I try to do His work, man. I just want to be of service to other people. Like, it could be anything small. It could be something big. Like, I'm here to help, and I think my story and, you know, where I went from to where I am now is a testament to, you know, like, what you can do if you get your shit together, you know?
Yeah, man, it's funny to me, like, hearing people's stories like yourself and then looking at people that complain about the littlest shit makes it a lot different when you hear somebody like yourself, you know what I'm saying? Oh, I know that. Oh, I fucking know that. But at the end of the day, I know it's all love, and I know that it's something that you do just for fun. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like, like, you really do care about it.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so for the listeners out there, all right, I want to know, and this is going to come from somebody that truly understands this. This is why I'm going to ask you this question. What does a strong person mean to you? What's your definition of a strong person?
My definition of a strong person is someone that, like, when things aren't going good for them and they're having a bad day, still goes out of their way to help someone else.
Nice.
It's not about me. It's about the people around you.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're having a bad day? All right, well, go help that lady across the street. Or you know, I drive around here, and I'm stuck at an exit or at a stoplight, and there's like a homeless guy. Here, whatever I got in my pocket, here you go. And they look at me, and I'm like, bro, I know what it's like to fucking beg on the corner for money, you know, just to fucking get high. And I'm like, what do you, like, you know, like, I always ask them because I know. I'm like, what are you, like, doing? Like, what are you doing out here? And they're like, oh, I'm trying to find work. And I'm like, come on, bro, just tell me you're getting high. Just, I can live vicariously through you, you know? But, like, I know that they're probably going to go get high with that money, but I don't care. Because it's not what you do with that money now is your choice. I'm just trying to be, like, maybe you will buy a sandwich with that money. Yeah. You know, maybe you will go buy some water or get a hotel room or something like that. Yeah. But so, like, I think, you know, if you're down and out, but you're still willing to help others, that's the definition of strength.
I like it. All right, so that's what you get. Oh, also, do you want to do it? You want to plug the documentary? Or you want to wait?
Classified? Which one?
Yeah, the one that might come out.
Oh, no, not yet.
Right.
Yeah, that's weird.
You'll have to wait on that one. Yeah. But anyways, make sure you go ahead and follow this guy. Go ahead and tell him your Instagram real quick.
Jared Flash Gordon, and Twitter's J Flash Gordon MMA.
You almost forgot.
I think it is. Whatever, you find me on Twitter, Jared Gordon.
Check him out. All right, guys. Thanks again for watching. See you again next time.